the state are really confused at how we have a governor, which I've driven around, and the consensus is most popular governor in our lifetime, conservative, pro-business, done an incredible job for our state. Yet the Republican Party has not won a Senate race in 10 years. People don't understand it. And it's a really important thing to think about. In 2022, because this pretty much sums it up, when Governor Kemp had his reelect against Stacey Abrams, and thank God he won. On the same ballot was Raphael Warnock and Herschel, on the same ballot. 300,000 voters voted for Governor Kemp and Raphael Warnock. 300,000. Herschel lost that election by 41,000 votes in the first round. And 300,000 people, Kemp, Warnock. The lesson is, if you're going to win statewide, you got to have a candidate who not only can energize and mobilize the Republican Trump voters, but you better have somebody who can connect and find some common ground or have a leadership style that resonates with groups that don't always vote Republican. They don't always vote in the midterms. I don't care if it's white, suburban mom, the black community, Hispanic community, Indian, Asian, Jewish. Everybody deserves respect. Everybody deserves to be listened to. It's something nobody did better than Governor Kemp, who I'm honored has endorsed me. It's the only race he's weighed in on. And it's something as a coach I did for 30 years. Sitting in living rooms and kitchens with people who don't always look like me or think like me. And I'm asking them to trust me. Send me your son, send me your grandson. And then listen, guys, you gotta keep it. You gotta earn that day in and day out and be a man of your word, because they're calling home every day. You don't make it in coaching if you're not a man of your word. That's the first piece that I learned. The second thing that I learned driving around the state is most people really want the same things. And I bet you guys, it's the same stuff. I don't care who I talk to. People from both sides. They want their kids, they want to live in a safe community. They want their kids to get a good education and develop skills when they're young, which will allow them to get a good paying job so they can afford a home and raise a family. It's really that simple if you think about it. But Congress gets fully distracted from what that should always be the priority. And they get totally distracted from it. And I want you to think about what we've seen over the last 15, 20 years. We've seen a rise in careerism, people staying up there too long. We've got 74 members now who've been up there over 20 years. 74. We've seen more corruption than we've ever seen. People sitting on these committees, they have access to information that none of us have, and their stock portfolios go off the roof. It's ridiculous. And now we're seeing these ethics charges going everywhere, people resigning. It's chaos. But mostly it's the inaction, where we kind of yell and scream at each other. We drift from crisis to crisis, and we never work together to solve problems for the people. And the one thing I learned real early in coaching, 30 years, it's not about you. It's about the team. It's about people. And when they succeed, you succeed. And that's the kind of leadership I want to bring up to the United States Senate. That's what the kind of leadership I think we need. Now, as I've driven around the state, and I've talked to a lot of people about my disappointment in leadership up there, first question I get, hey, Coach, how do we know you ain't going to go up there and turn into the rest of them? I mean, it's a hell of a question. And I started getting that over and over and over. The first thing that came through my head was, man, these guys have been getting a lot of empty promises over the years on these campaigns. And I get it. And I just thought to myself, what can I do to show everybody that this is from the heart? I mean, I quit a long career in coaching to do this because I'm passionate about it. And it motivated me to put down on paper a pledge to you guys, to the people of Georgia. And I brought a bunch of copies that I hope you guys will take on. It's a one-pager. It's not like Newt Gingrich's contract with America. It's not a policy paper. It's not that. It's just a pledge of what's going to guide every decision I make and every vote I cast. And it's 5 simple things. The first one which is the most important, is where my loyalty is. Georgia first. My loyalty is to the people of Georgia. If there's something good for this state or our country, I don't care whose idea it is, I'm going to support it. And if there's something not good for our state and our country, I don't care who's trying to apply pressure on it. I'm not going to support it. That's number one. Number two is that if I'm honored enough to serve, I'm only going to serve 2 terms, and I'm going to fight like hell for term limits. I believe it's the most important thing we can do to get Washington working better for our country again. Number 3 is when I'm in office, I'm not going to trade stocks or crypto. And it's time we ban this stuff. I think it's shameful. It erodes trust. It's ridiculous that it continues to go on up there. The 4th thing is I'm never going to take a check during a government shutdown. And it's time we start changing the rules on what happens when Congress doesn't do its fundamental job, which is to fund the government. It's time we start ending their pay, and it's time we end their privileges where they don't get to go home or go on vacation. And the last thing is I'm going to stay accountable to the people of Georgia. I've already promised I'm going to do at least 10 town halls in my first term. I think too many people go up there and they like how the wine tastes, and they lose touch with reality back home. And so that's my promise. And as I've gone around the state, and we're starting another swing tomorrow in Northeast Georgia, I've been rolling these out, I've been signing and personalizing, and it means something to me. It's from the heart. And I hope you guys will take home and look at it and know where I'm kind of leadership that I'm going to bring. Now look, you mentioned, Lee, you got to ask for their vote. I learned that pretty early too. And I'm asking you guys for your vote. But I'm more than that. If you believe in what I'm saying, I'm really asking you to be a part of a team. And because it's going to take a team effort. And this metro Atlanta area is going to be really important for me and our campaign to win this thing. And being a part of the team can be a number of things. It can start with just getting your whole family to vote, whether it's your wives or your kids or whoever it is, but it's also spreading the word and getting more and more people to show up. Early voting, late April, May 19th is the primary day. That's number 1. Number 2 is you guys all have my number, get my card, call me, text me, anything you think I need to do, connect with, I'll be happy to follow up on. And then the 3rd thing is, if you're capable and you're willing, get a little skin in the game. You know, I never really gave to political candidates when I was coaching, and I just never did. And the first guy I gave to was Governor Kemp. And you know, what I learned is when you get a little investment in it, it matters a little more too. And it matters, and you pay attention a little bit more, you influence others a little bit more, but you're also proud of what you invested in when you watch him lead the way you do. And so I'm asking you, it doesn't matter if it's $5, $20, $100, $1,000. Get invested in these elections, because if you don't, we can look up one day and you're not going to believe what happens. Ultimately, I'm going to just tell you this. People say, why are you really doing this? I honestly have a tremendous love of this country and the ideals it stands for, the opportunities it creates for young people. I've seen it. For 28 years, I've seen how great it is and how it's helped people. And I have 3 kids, all in their 20s. And I'm sure you guys have kids and grandkids that you care about. I will tell you, the environment around them is nothing like the environment how we all grew up. It's very different. And all I care about is that when we pass this country on to that generation, that they have the same kind of pride in our country that we do. That's all I care about. And to me, it always starts with leadership. That's where you start. Sending people up there with some common sense, people that share our values, Georgia values, but most importantly, they're going up there for the right reasons. And that's to solve problems for the people. And that's what I'm going to do as your next senator. And so I appreciate you guys having me out, and I'll be happy to take any questions. I don't know if we want to do any questions or not. I'll be happy to do so. We're going to be out on a swing with Governor Kemp in Northwest Georgia, Southwest Georgia. Anything, our campaign has all kind of updates, dooleyforgeorgia.com. We'll have everything on there, and we'd love for y'all to come on.
Was Ossoff's voting record pretty much what was coming down from the Biden administration policies?
He voted 98% for the Biden administration. Think about that, 98%. And the reality is, he just does whatever the very progressive side of the party tells him to do. The reason he does that is because they bankroll his campaign. I mean, he's got 20-something million right now. And so his primary goal is to get reelected and to get reelected and to get reelected and one day be like Chuck Schumer. It's not serving the people, and it's not doing what you think is right for the people of Georgia and what they want. He would be on the other side of so many 80-20 issues if he truly was trying to represent our state. I just don't believe it. You know, I've made the comment, either deep down he believes some of this nonsense that he's supported, or he's only doing it to get money and get reelected. Either way, it's disqualifying as a public servant. And I can tell you this, when I wrote this, I really did say, I want to put down something that I think every single candidate who runs for office should sign.
Will we be requiring ID to vote?
What's that?
Will we be requiring in this state,
Well,
the upcoming election?
yeah, we do have ID requirements in Georgia. In fact, I will tell you, everybody talks a lot about our elections down here. And we obviously had a lot of mechanical issues from COVID. But here's what I want you guys to know and remember. In 2021, the governor and the legislature passed the Election Integrity Act. I don't know if y'all remember this, but Governor Kemp got crucified nationally, calling it Jim Crow 2.0 because it required voter ID, got rid of a lot of those drop boxes, all these issues that were causing a lot of distrust in the system. And Major League Baseball left the All-Star game, and he stood his ground. And what happened? 2022, he annihilated Stacey Abrams. In 2024, President Trump won Georgia. And so I say that as I got a lot of confidence in our election system, and you guys should too. It doesn't mean we don't stay vigilant. It doesn't mean people aren't going to try shenanigans. That's always the case. It's human nature. But I got a lot of confidence in our system. And the results speak for themselves. Yes, sir.
I'm particularly proud of America. For one, I'm a first generation American, and it's a cool thing to see how your parents come here. And Artemis,
Where'd your parents come from?
Dad came from Termini, Sicily, just before the war. Mom saw part of the war. She saw the bombs. She came from Gießen, Germany. Anyway, Artemis and things like that make us very proud. I have a fundamental concern. I'm the only boy in our family that didn't go into the military. We weren't in any battle at the time. With what's going on in Persia, in Iran, very critical stuff. I believe exactly what we're doing, but I have those mixed emotions that somebody do if we have to put boots on the ground. What is your feeling about how our country should go, and how would you be voting on this kind of stuff?
Let me start with this. I was 11 years old, 1979, and to this day, that was back when we had 3 channels on TV. I'll never forget the image of when the embassy got stormed and flags getting burned and they're chanting death to America. It scared me as a kid. It really did. And I will never forget that. And these guys have been sowing problems in our country and our world, stability-wise, for 40-something years. So these are bad guys. They're not like any other adversary that we go against. They're bad people. And so I was very supportive. Now, obviously, we don't have all the information that they have, but I think one thing that's very important is at some point, Congress has to get involved, get the information, because when you really think about when you're making these decisions, I think about 3 things. I think about, number one, is our national security really at risk? And I believe it was. I mean, if these guys get those kind of weapons, and we just can't let it happen. Number 2 is that we have a clear mission and we feel confident that we can execute. And then the third thing is it kind of goes to what's the cost? At what cost? How many? If it involves troops, what's the cost that we think is going to happen? Do we give the troops what they need? Are we going to take care of them when they come back? And so those are really big, serious issues. So I wish I could tell you exactly what the answer is to that. I just don't have access to the information that they have. But I think what's really important is I do believe, everybody talks a lot about our president. You know, I do believe that the decisions that are getting made are very thoughtful. They're very deliberate. There's a lot of opinions, and it's not made on a whim. I just don't believe that. But I also believe Congress needs to get involved in making because as long as this drags out, at some point we got to decide.
We better fund it.
Yeah, first, I just want to say thanks for being here. Love the pledge, really support the term limits. I've actually written about that on 2 occasions over the past 15 years, and the level of corruption. So all of that spot on. And the question came up about the IDs and already the Middle East, but I'm also concerned about obviously the level of corruption that they're emboldened. It's happening. It's been exposed more. Take the healthcare field, right? Medicare, all of this.
It's terrible.
It's terrible. But how do you feel about really now prosecution and really starting? We got to get more serious about that and have some things action along the lines.
Again, I think about Congress again, and let's just back up. We hadn't balanced a budget. We talked about fiscal responsibility. We hadn't balanced a budget in 25 years. 25 years hadn't balanced a budget. But then on top of that, have no idea what's happening to the money going out, no oversight over it. And that's the even more disappointing thing. And what's getting uncovered, just people having no oversight, turning a blind eye. That's our money. It's y'all's money. It's so irresponsible. And so I hope that this is, I think the administration has started this task force to go uncover all this stuff. And we've got to throw people in jail because it's the old saying, just like kids, what you tolerate, you encourage. If you tolerate something or look the other way or there's no consequences, all you're doing is encouraging that behavior. And so I'm just a big believer in, it's the old saying that everybody has freedom of choice, but nobody has freedom of consequence. And if they do, then it's going to be chaos. And we've seen that in law enforcement, and now we're seeing it on this fraud thing. It just makes me sick.
Thank you.
You kind of touched on this basic question. Have you met Trump? Do you feel that he's sincere? Are you confident in him? Yeah, because he does, trip on his feet, to us, so to speak. But how do you feel about him genuinely running the country?
I met the president back in August when I announced, and I think a lot of the staff up there was really pressuring him to endorse one of the congressmen that are running. And I'm just going to give you a little backdrop. Governor Kemp, before he and I even engaged, when he decided he wasn't going to run, he was very committed to getting his seat back. He just felt like it was important for the state. And he felt like that the guys in it couldn't win statewide for some reasons that I've stated. And so, thanks to Governor Kemp, who kept communicating with Trump, once he and I engaged, he convinced him, just meet the guy. If you want to go endorse, but just meet the guy first. And so we had a 30-minute meeting scheduled. They told us it'd probably go about 10 minutes, and it went an hour and a half. It was incredible. I mean, first of all, I don't care who the president is. Being in the Oval, it was a really incredible experience. And I'm not going to go into all the nature of it, but he's really curious. He's engaging. He's obviously very smart. But he's, what you see is him. I mean, it's his style. And so I know it's so hard for everybody, but I try to really focus on what ultimately is done, not all the stuff in the middle, tweets, comments, and, and because I think ultimately I do believe this. He's very smart. He's got an incredible amount of experience. He loves this country. And I think he's driven by that. He believes in American greatness. And so I got a lot of faith in what that administration has done. It doesn't mean I think everything's perfect. And it doesn't mean that, you know, I like that kind of style. I'm a very different style than him. But I do believe that, you know, I think he saved our country. I really do. But I know it's tough, you know, when the Easter tweet comes around. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.